Entschuldigung. Das Mikrofon ist ein bisschen zu nah. Unser nächster Künstler, der ist sehr, sehr weit angereist, ebenfalls aus Frankfurt, kommt aber ursprünglich aus den USA. Und er hat schon in sehr, sehr jungen Jahren angefangen zu schreiben und ist eigentlich schon überall auf der Welt aufgetreten, London, Brüssel etc. Und zurzeit arbeitet er auch an seiner ersten Gedichtesammlung Kintsugi. Bitte begrüßen Sie mit mir Renard Yearby.
Hi. See, I'm in a pickle. Usually when I'm nervous, I take my glasses off. But because I need to read this text, I have to keep my glasses on. So, yeah. So my name's Renard. I'm from Florida, but I live in Frankfurt. And before I start, I tell this story everywhere I go because I perform in German slams, but I only perform in English. And this story will tell you why I only perform in English and not German. When I first got here in 2001, my girlfriend, who's now my wife, we met, and then I came to visit, and I got to meet my Spiegelmutter, all right? So my wife had taught me some German words, and I was really confident, and I wanted to impress the Spiegelmutter. So I can speak a little Spanish. So when you translate from Spanish to English, it's almost direct. So if you say, my name is Renard, me llamo Ronaldo, but in German, it's a little different. Like the subject's over here, and then the verb's way over here, and then the description's over here. So I didn't know anything about the German language, so I thought you can translate it directly. So my mother-in-law made a cake, and I wanted to impress her. So I turned to my wife and I'm going to use my German words. She's like, okay, go ahead. I sicher? Yeah, go. So I was like, Mutti, das ist der beste Mutterkuchen in the whole wide world. So now you know why. I do my poetry in English and not German. I don't want anything lost in translation, especially when I found out what that meant. So, yeah. And she still let me marry her. That's poetry for me is also a language of love, and I've been writing poetry for a long time. And in high school, guys who wanted to impress their girlfriends would pick on the nerd, which was me, and say, I need you to write me a letter for my girlfriend. So this is one of the poems, one of the very first poems I wrote for someone else's girlfriend. And this one is called Snowflake. All right. You are the snowflake that falls and lends its tears to the first blanket of snowy purity. But you're purely beautiful in all your grandeur. Even the perfections of your imperfections are perfectly imperfect. None are identical. You stand alone. I wait to catch your words on my tongue like the honey drizzle of the first flakes of snow. But if perception is reality, I want to perceive you in this reality and not in the perceptions of my matrix-like dreams. I simply stand in awe. See, I've been studying your photo like I'm cramming to the entrance of your exam, graduating to degrees of mastery. See, I even wrote a dissertation on why I counted 445 hair follicles that makes the arc of your brows triumph, that encase the soulful well of your eyes so well. It's easy for me to say that your visuals leave residual sensual embers that slow burns the color of my palette. It's easy for me to say, you're my Venus de Milo, my Helen of Troy, my Mona Lisa, but you're much more than treasures in an old museum. You're much more like the labor of the 16th chapel. You are a masterpiece, a true labor of love. See, I imagine when God made you, he had the cramping hands of a sculptor who kept slowly chiseling because he wanted to perfect the way you slightly bite your lip. I imagine when God made you, he had the cramping hands of a potter who kept throwing his clay into the slope of your nose to accentuate that sparkle in your eye. I am just left starstruck. I'm struck by the stars that glisten on the pink gloss sky of your lips. I am just left starstruck. I'm struck by the thought that I could be the star in your starring attraction. But this is much more than attraction. The fact is, I want to run outside in the flurries of your hugs. I want to run outside in the snowdrifts of your kiss. I want to lay in the soft powder and make like angels, without wings, without halos, without sins, to simply stand with my arms wide open. You're the snowflake that I wish I could just catch on the tip of my tongue. Thank you. Now I can take the glasses off. The poetry for me is also it's like the song of the youth, the song of what's going on in the world right now. The next poem is called The Letter on the Train, a letter to the woman on the train. I was on a train traveling to a slam from Frankfurt to Munich, I believe, and I was reading this newspaper article about someone who was shot and killed in the States by police. Usually you hear this narrative in the States that the person who shot and killed was either a drug dealer or he was doing something wrong, but this particular case was not like that. This guy, he did everything that the police said. He was nice, he was respectful, he was kind. And from the moment the police stopped, 37 seconds, from the moment he stopped, and the guy was killed. So they had a trial, and unbelievably, the jury did not find the police officer guilty. So I was reading this article, and I'm a poet, so I wrote 3 words in my journal. I just wrote that Black Lives Matter. And at this time, this lady, she came on the train, she sat down next to me, she looked over and saw what I was writing, and then she turned to me and said, "You know, all lives matter." That's true. All lives matter. But if I say Black Lives Matter and your retort is all lives matter, that's dismissive, right? So I took up my pen and paper, and I began to write her this letter, and it goes like this. Hi, my name is Renard. I'm 6 feet. Okay, let's start off honestly. I'm 5 feet and 11 inches tall. And I know before you say anything, I really need to get used to using the metric system. I want to tell you right now that my favorite food in the whole wide world, no lie, is Jaeger schnitzel and apple strudel. And I swear my belt plays tug of war with my waistline every time I walk by and smell the very first fresh doner kebab. My friends will tell you the thing they like about me is my eyes. They say they love how I can look past the walls and walls and walls of a fault of a person to find that one spot of goodness on the inside. They will tell you they love to see me watch a conversation. It's like I watch words fall from your mouth like an army of paratroopers floating in the sky or 4-hour conversation, and I don't want to pull the ripcord because I love the feeling of butterflies in my stomach. I have to be honest. I'm a sucker for girls with big, pretty eyes, big smiles, and a nice pair of... Nice pair of earrings, shoes. I'm often asked if I'm a drug dealer, or if I'm a rapper, or a basketball player, or if I know where the best place to buy weed. And when I hear that, it's like you only see me for someone that's good for selling or entertaining something. It's like you forgot that my skin is supposed to be the fertile crescent of human existence. It's like you forgot that my skin is supposed to be the birthplace of mathematics. Do you want to know what the very first words I heard from a German stranger when I got here? It was, yo. Du bist ein nigger. And it felt like it was 1944. And my lungs were full of gas, and I was trapped in the oven, and they set it on fire. Or it was 2016 right here in Germany. And I was trapped in this house with refugees, and there's a mob outside cheering because they set this house on fire. And you want to know what? I'm tired of everyone acting like racism didn't exist until the election of Donald Trump. It's like they forgot about the NPD. Wait, no, it's the AFD and neo-Nazis. I wonder if you can understand how hard it is to live in a country where no one understands why you're angry. Do you want to know how hard it is to live in a country where people say they love your hair and your skin and your music and your culture, but right here in Germany on Black Night at the clubs, I can't get in? Do you understand how hard it is to live in a country like that? So when you said all lives matter to my Black Lives Matter, it's dismissive. And I'm a teacher, so this is a teachable moment for us. My mom has breast cancer. And I'm telling my mom that breast cancer sucks. But then you come in and say, yo, wait, whoa, all cancers suck. Do you get that? My favorite food is schnitzel. So my dad's going to make you a schnitzel, and he's going to make you a schnitzel, and way in the back, he's going to make you a schnitzel. And I'm like, Dad, I'm hungry. Where's my schnitzel? And my dad turns to me like, yo, relax. We're all hungry. But he doesn't give me a schnitzel. Do you understand when you say all lives matter to Black Lives Matter, how dismissive that is? So anyway, I finished the letter, I gave it to her, and we talked and argued and cried and talked and argued and cried. From Frankfurt to Munich, that's like 3.5. That's a lot of talking and crying. But we got to Munich, and before she got off the train, she turned to me and said, you're right. Black lives matter. Not more than your life. Not more than my life. Our life. Black life just matters. Thank you.